Let's go to Dominic, who's on the line in Little Rock, Arkansas. Dominic, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Ken, thank you so much for taking my call. How you doing?
Man, I'm living the dream. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. So I'm 24 years old, and man, I'm really just trying to find my purpose in life. I'm young, just like the last caller, and I'm kind of in his same situation. And so I was working for a startup telecommunications company that was around for about 3 years, and they ended up going out of business. So I ended up getting laid off my job, and I've been unemployed for about 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really just trying to find my purpose in life, and that's why I'm calling in right now.
All right. So how long have you been listening to the show?
Well, my dad told me about your show about 3 weeks ago, and he said, you got to listen to Ken Coleman. You got to listen to Ken. And I was like, okay, I'll listen to him sometime. And about a week after that, I said, I listened to one of your episodes, and I was like, man, this guy really knows what he's doing.
Well, that's very kind.
So I've been listening to you for probably about 2 weeks now.
Okay, so not long. So we're going to walk through the process that we just did with young Luke. But listen, if you trust me and you're honest and just let the answers fly, we're going to find some direction here. You ready to roll?
I'm ready.
All right, what have you always just done really well? It's come easy to you.
I would say the first thing for me that comes to mind is I've always been very, very good with people, especially one-on-one. I've always been, if a lot of times, if my friends or something have a problem that's going on, I'm kind of always the guy that they come to.
Interesting. How does it feel? I'm going to interrupt you real quick, and we're going to let you get right back to the list. How does it feel when your friends come to you with a problem and you give them something that they go, that's pretty good? How does it feel after that conversation?
It feels great. It really does.
Yeah. Okay, what else? Give me some other things, because you're better. You have more talents than just people skills.
Right, and another one of my talents is I'm a musician. I've been playing music for about 10 years now. It's always been one of my passions. Now, whether it's professional passion, that's still what I'm kind of trying to figure out.
All right, what do you play?
For me right now, I'm sorry, say again?
What do you play? What instrument?
I play guitar, and I sing as well.
All right. So let's put that over on the passion line. But you're also pretty good. So that's on your talent line as well. You're above average. Would you say that?
I would say that's correct.
Okay. What else? Give me some other things you do very, very well.
I would say the other thing, I'm just a real good communicator. And kind of like I was saying earlier, not so much as, a group of people, but I'm very, very good at communicating one-on-one with somebody.
What else makes you good at giving advice? What have friends told you? What do you think is, because we know you're good with connecting with people and you're also good at communicating. Those are two very important C's. So you should be pretty fired up about yourself right now, because that can go a long way with those two C's. But what is it that allows you to give good advice? What's that talent?
I think for me, I'm very, very open-minded. Very open-minded.
I think it's something more than that. I think you've got good discernment. You may be saying the same thing.
I would say that's very true.
Because you're able to, my guess is when you hear someone else's problem, you are able to see a pattern, or you're able to simplify it. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. So let's go over to the passion line. We know you love music, and I'm assuming you also love to perform as well.
Oh, I love it, yes.
All right. So now we're starting to see something here. What is it about performing that you love?
That's a great question. I think for me, performing, I do tend to struggle with anxiety, but when I'm in front of people performing music, it feels like my anxiety just completely vanishes. I mean, I'm really in my happy place when I'm performing in front of people.
Yeah. So you enjoy that pressure. What would normally be anxiety for you, it goes away, even though it's a high-pressure situation.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you that I think it's the same thing, the same juice you get, the same anxiety-free state, your happy place, as you called it.
Right.
I'm going to suggest to you that it's the exact same thing when you're counseling one of your friends one-on-one. You get the same juice.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Well, I think here's what this boils down to. Based on what I'm hearing, I think you've got to explore a little bit more. Now you're in the.
Okay.
I think we've done some discovery, which is stage 1 of realizing the dream. Stage 2 is research. Right. I think you need to do a little bit more discovery with a hint of research on it. And what I mean by that is, looking into, just allowing your brain to look into the future and do some actual research to see what it would take, what it would require of you if you did some form of counseling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying, Dominic, that that's it. I'm saying I think you need to look into that. And
Gotcha.
then I also think you need to have a real true assessment about your abilities as a musician and what's the path look like there.
Right.
Because I think if you look at your greatest talents, you know, you have to ask yourself, are you better at the communicating and the connecting and the counseling? Are those higher on your talent line than music? You know, and that you got to be honest with yourself, and listen. When you can't be honest with yourself, that's why we have friends and professionals who aren't our friends who can give us the hard truth.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So let's just say that you do this, Dominic, and you find out that you're an above average musician, but you know you got a ways to go. You're a 7, and if you bust it, you can become a 9, and then now you can make money. But now, how are the ways that you're going to make money as a musician? You're going to be a studio musician? How does that pay in Little Rock, Arkansas? Or do you have to move to Nashville, you know? Or
Probably not very well.
Right. Okay, you see where I'm going with this. That's what I mean.
No, that makes perfect sense.
So that's what I mean by the discovery we've kind of done here today. Now, I've not said anything back to you that you didn't give to me, and when I said it back to you, nothing seemed weird. You were all over it.
Right.
So the question is, who do you most want to help? What problem do you most want to solve? Those are the.
If I could bring up.
Go
I'm
for
sorry.
it.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to bring up one other point because something about law enforcement really interested me. So I went on a ride along here in Little Rock with a police officer, and I rode along with him for about 4 hours, and I thought it'd be something I'd be really interested in because I have a passion for helping others and helping the community. Mm-hmm. And I thought that would be something right up my alley. So I rode along with this officer for about 4 hours, and that's something that I really, really did enjoy was riding along with him, and something that I thought about pursuing.
Well, then you need to look into that some more as well.
Right.
Because it comes down to those 2 questions I just gave you. We started the discovery process. Now, again, what we looked at didn't necessarily point me towards you being a police officer, but that doesn't mean that that's not it. Okay?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to come down to passion. So you might have really enjoyed the ride along, but I'm not sold yet. But I'm not discouraging you from this either, Dominic. What I'm saying is anybody can ride along and be part and say, well, this is kind of cool. Because I'll be honest with you right now, Joe, I'd kind of like to do a ride along with a cop. I'm just telling you, I think that's kind of interesting. Madison's laughing at me because she knows how ridiculous I look in the police car, but that's neither here nor there. But here's the deal. I find this really interesting. Stay with me for a second, Dominic, and everybody else. I think it's very interesting. I think if I go do that, and I did that for 4 hours, I'd come home and tell my wife, Stacey, that was really interesting.
Right.
But then you know what I would do after that? I'd go, no, let's look back at who I really am. Am I deeply passionate about law enforcement?
Right.
Because there are a million ways to help people, Dominic, a million ways. And I just got to tell you, I feel like I heard your soul come alive when you started talking about giving advice to your friends. I heard it. And I sensed that a smile broke over your face as well. And I just got to say here, don't get tempted by something that's cool, because 3 years from now, you might be calling me going, yeah, I thought I wanted to be a police officer, but I'm burned out, and Ken, I need your help again. That's my concern. This exercise that we walk through, talent, passion, what I do best, what I love to do most, they are windows into our soul. It is indisputable. This is not cracky, crazy science. This isn't some crackpot idea. You understand what I'm saying, folks? It works. And the police officer thing is, in my mind, a distraction, and I think it's a potential trap. But Dominic's got to run this out. You got to look into it. Does it answer the question, who do I most want to help? What problem do I most want to solve? 95% of the people that call the show say, Ken, I want to help people. Well, join the human race. Anybody with a decent heart wants to help people. The question is, who do you want to help? What do you want to help? Why do you want to help? So those two questions that I ask, who do you most want to help? What problem do you most want to solve? Is going to fit in beautifully to what we already started with Dominic. This kid loves to give advice. That's at the bottom line. Dominic gets juice out of giving advice. So he needs to figure that out. Who do I most want to give advice to? What advice do I most want to give? Two different questions, similar, going to give you a lot of clarity. So Dominic, that's your homework. And for the rest of you that are in his shoes, that's what you need to do as well.